Hi everyone, welcome to the Puny podcast. And today we're going to be discussing the stigmas of being single. And with us, we have amazing humans. Can everyone please introduce themselves?
Okay. Hi, I am Kristen. I am 29 years old and I am a straight female.
Hi everybody, I'm Quinn. I'm 24 and I am a trans male.
Hello everyone, I am Saya, I am 18 and I am a bisexual trans male.
My name is Lungelo Nimbula. I'm a 22-year-old straight black male.
Hi, I'm Kirsten and I'm a 22-year-old straight female.
True or false? I will be happier if I am in a relationship.
I would be happy if I'm in a relationship. True, I would be because I am a sharer. I love to love. So I like to have a person in my life that I can share and do things with.
I'd be happier if I was in a relationship. True or false? I think true as well for a similar reason as Kristen. I'm pretty selfless and I like spending quality time with other people. And I think I had a romantic partner in my life, would be a lot more constant and yeah.
Would I be happier in a relationship? True or false? True. For the reason of my love language is physical touch and quality time. Like I just like spending time with someone. It doesn't have to be like groups of people, but if I had someone to do that with, it would probably make me 1,000 times happier than I am right now.
Would I be happier if I were in a relationship? True or false? I feel like if that question was asked 2 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, it would be different. But for now, I'll have to say false due to where I'm at right now in life. I'm still trying to find myself and, so to be able to find what makes me happy without having to explore that with someone else, give that to me first. Once I figure that out, then yeah, the answer would be true. But for now, I'd say false.
Are you insecure about being single? Yes or no, and why?
That's a difficult one because it comes and goes. It's yes on some days and no on other days. I think it depends on just the mood that I'm in. But I think for now, I'm going to go with no. I think that there is the stigma about if you're being single, then there's something wrong with you. Or why aren't you in a relationship? Why has it been so long? Why can't you find someone? And I think it's completely okay to be on your own until, that right person happens, to stumble upon your life, and you just take it from there.
Would I be insecure, or am I insecure being single? Also no, because I would rather just wait for the perfect person, or not the perfect person, but the perfect time for a relationship to happen, rather than force one and it end up being more traumatic than a nice relationship. So basically it's just when the time's right, it will happen.
Am I insecure about being single? No, I think it's hard to love yourself, let alone someone else. So I think it makes it a lot easier to first learn who you are.
Am I single about being insecure? Sorry. Am I single about being insecure? It'll be a quick answer. Sorry about that. No, I'm not. I find solace and comfort in myself. And for as long as I can maintain that and I find someone who can add to that, then there's nothing to be insecure about.
Am I insecure about being single? It's also a yes or no type of thing. On some days I feel really lonely, really there's so many people in my life who are very happy with their partners and have been for many years. But also no, because I'm okay in my own company. I like being by myself sometimes, and it's very hard to separate yourself from your partner when you are together. You become kind of like a unit. So sometimes I feel insecure when it comes to being with those other couples and I am by myself, then I feel insecure, but not when I'm just like on my own.
Okay, cool. Next question. It's relationship season. How are you feeling about everyone around you having a special someone except you?
It sucks balls, like a lot. Especially because, as I mentioned earlier, I am a lover. I love to give love, and not having someone to give love to or to make love to, it really sucks around this time of the year, and it does get lonely. And that's why I mentioned before, like it's a yes or no sometimes about being single as well, because just as much as everyone else, I'm pretty fine being by myself. I can confidently be on my own. I can be in my own company, but there are those days that you just want to be with someone, and then watching everyone else be happy, and you sometimes just wish you could have that as well.
Yeah, that's true. I share the same sentiments as Kristen, because in a sense you start feeling left out. You start feeling, it's even worse when your friendship circle, your social circle, like most of your friends are in relationships, and it's like, how did I get left behind? So you have those moments. Yeah, and you get those moments where you look at your friends and you're like, what? So people were just handing out partners one day. Where was I? Was I asleep? What was going on? So you do get those moments where you do feel, a bit of FOMO. I agree, Kristen.
I think especially when you're out with people and then they're sitting and they're all like, like having little jokes between each other, and you kind of sit there and you're like, cool, me too.
I personally don't get jealous or feel any type of way. If anything, it's like I'll make fun of people. It's like, oh, relationship season, that's gross. It's kind of weird. And also it's like, I don't know, it's not that deep for me. It's kind of just like, everyone's doing their thing, and if I'm not a part of it, I'll make fun of it, like not seriously, but yeah.
But I think that also has to do with where you are in your journey, if you want to call your single life a journey. And again, that goes back to that yo-yo effect of, some days you're fine with it, some days you aren't. And it's not necessarily just limited to days. It could be a phase in your life where you could just be completely, totally fine with everyone smushing face and being in love around you, and you're like, oh, this is chilled. And then 3 months later, you hate your life because everyone is in a relationship and you have a bunch of weddings to go to and try and find, someone to go with you, and it's just dreadful. And you're just surrounded by all of it. And it's just, yeah.
I was just about to say, people getting engaged.
Because I'm kind of... I'm kind of in my... I'm in my party phase, so it's also like I'm not trying to be in any serious relationship. I still want to go out and do whatever. Yeah.
But when you're going out, it's whole different vibes. Okay, I don't have to worry about what that one's doing or what they think of me when I'm going out without them. But I think when you're out at a dinner and they're having their little jokes between each other, then you kind of sit there and you're like, okay, cool, what am I meant to do? Talk to my plate,
Cool. So your pronouns, your personal pronouns, and your race. So whether you're a Black male or a white female. So as your pronoun / race, what stigmas do you feel that you face that are unique to the other participants in this Zoom meeting regarding being single?
As a trans male, I feel like there are a lot of unique things that make it incredibly difficult dating, especially in today's society, because even though people of our generation are very evolved and woke and whatever, there's still a lot of problems. People are very uneducated, people are very ill-informed about how hard it is for us, because I don't mean to throw stigmas out there, but as a straight white female, you know your target market, you know what you're looking for, and they know what they're getting themselves into, especially being a cisgendered female. There's no like reach around for anything. But as a trans male, you get such incredibly stupid questions asked. And when people find out about what you are as a trans male, whether you're Black or white or Indian or whatever, you get very despondent and like you lose all hope, because the second someone finds out that you're trans, they literally become disgusted in you, or they hate you, or they don't like that you've lied to them. It's incredibly difficult dating, or even trying to start dating when you're a trans person. It's incredibly hard.
I'm going to piggyback with that because we're kind of saying that gender lives. For me, okay, I'm bi, right? So growing up, because I was born like a cis female, but I'm not, I'm trans. So growing up, I was always surrounded by girls. So like that market was okay, but like getting more into guy spaces and like dating guys is a whole different game. Because it's like, I don't know, it's just the space is different. It's always so much more intimidating because it always feels like I'm not like man enough, to be in there. And then also like the dating aspect of it, and it's like, since I am trans, there's also like horrible questions that you get asked, and it's just like a very difficult space to be in. There's always like their favorite line is like, "Can I ask a personal question?" And it's like, okay, I know what's coming next. So yeah, it's tough, and I think that people think that like, because okay, at least as like a bi guy, it's like, okay, having girlfriends and having girlfriends is different, but then having guy friends is like a whole different ballgame and so much harder to initiate, and then also guy relationships. So yeah,
But
it's kind of
Yeah, I know it's a touch and go when it comes to a white cis woman around my age of 27 up to, I would say, about 32. I mean, someone also mentioned dating apps earlier. Even then as well, like it's a bit difficult because we don't necessarily have issues with our gender specifically, but we all have difficulties when it comes to our appearances, our physical appearances. So for example, perfect example is we are stereotyped with, blonde hair and buxom and, fair skin and that kind of stuff. And men expect a certain thing from us, and then we don't necessarily always look the part. I have to put in my dating profiles, I have to put there squishy, because I am not a skinny woman. I don't look like that right now because I am blessed with a pretty face. But as soon as I stand up, you can see that I am borderline, mid-size, curvier, I'm a little bit well-rounded. And you don't tend to pick that up in my photos. And dating and stuff like that has made it so much harder, because as soon as a man meets me in real life, he sees I'm a little bit filled out, and after the first date, I never hear from them again. And that's incredibly exhausting, because as much as Quinn mentioned earlier about being judged about a certain physical aspect about themselves, that's also kind of something that we get judged on, and it's incredibly harsh. And yes, we are in a love yourself society at the moment. Love it, preach it, all for it. But men don't necessarily still follow that. They still want the skinny yet buxom blonde babe that fills out their clothes in all the right places and all the preferred places, and it's still very exhausting. And if anything, that has been the most difficult thing about dating for me right now. That has also almost been a turn off for me. I would say that's, like I said, it's not necessarily as challenging maybe as some other people have been going through, but it is definitely still a very annoying pain in my side.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot easier, obviously, than your guys' experience. But I know, like, it's hard because there's still a lot of, I want to say, issues within dating that I'm not very fond of, like all these kind of expectations and men kind of like expecting a lot out of us, like emotionally, and they're not capable of giving it back. So I think there's a lot of issues within that, and especially like family as well. I have to say this. So it's like every time you go to a family thing, it's kind of like, are you dating anyone yet? When are you getting married? You know, you need to move on quickly. You know, are you gonna have kids? You know, you're gonna be old mom and all those kind of things. So it's kind of like all these expectations. Like, I want to be in a relationship, and of course I want kids. Like, it's all these assumptions, you know.
If anything, touching on the kids thing, if anything, I'm a person who doesn't want kids at all. My parents still to this day, if you meet the right man, I don't believe in that. A man does not have a say on whether I want a child or not, because he does not have to physically carry the child and give birth to it. So I don't believe in that saying as in the right man will change your mind, because it is still my personal choice. But if anything, I've been met with a lot of backlash on that decision. Oh, but why do you not want kids? You know, and I'm like, well, because
what if your husband wants?
I don't care. I'll find myself a man who doesn't, kind of thing, you know. So, like, I feel, and that stigma also comes a lot from the older generation, from family members older than me, not necessarily from other women, because I've also met a lot of other women who are fine with my decision and say, you go, babe, you do you. I have also, ironically, also met a lot of men who are also fine with my decision. So, you know, that's how I also know it's not a bad decision to make. It's definitely, it's just, I think, a generational gap. And it's pressure coming from our parents, or, you know, just a generation older, aunts, uncles, that kind of stuff. They put a pressure on us saying, oh, when are you getting married? When are you having kids? Because it's definitely not our own generation that is putting this kind of pressure on us.
Okay, next question. Which stigma as a single person are you most insecure about?
I'll go first. I think it's the thing of being unhappy. You know, you're single and unhappy. And it kind of just grates my gears in a sense that because I'm alone, I therefore, you know, I'm unhappy, and I'm of course looking for someone, and it's just not it.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Like, people often like put this thing on you, like, if you're alone and by yourself, you have to be unhappy. If you're not with somebody, you're unhappy. And it's like, I'm somebody. I'm with me. Can I not be happy by myself and be content with the decision of wanting to be alone? Because I'm still somebody. I'm with somebody. I'm with me. And that should be enough for everybody.
Yeah, me and all my other personalities. I think the biggest stigma that I hate actually the most, and it is a bit of a contradiction, is that people seem to also sometimes think that if you're single, there's also a lack of strength. It's a bit of a catch-22. Like, they're like, oh, you're almost independent, but they also think at the same time that I don't have the strength to be alone. That, oh, you must be lonely. You must be sad, or it must be shame. But you're on your own. You're staying by yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's always that like doubt of my strength that I can carry of being alone and on my own. But yet at the same time, people always seem to preach about being single is about being independent and strong and fierce. But it's always the first thing that they tend to doubt about you as soon as they find out you've been single for a while.
I feel like everyone touched on everything. Well, from my personal experience as well, that's just what it is. It's just being alone, and people think that there's something wrong with you, or maybe you're the problem, or maybe it's something you're doing wrong. Sometimes that's not even the case. You know, like you're not bound to be in a relationship every 5 months, every 6 months. Sometimes you're gonna be in a relationship now, it doesn't work out. Next relationship is gonna happen in like 2-3 years. And who's to say, like, during that time, you're going to be in talking stages that don't work out as such. So I think people just don't understand that. Yeah, it's just the fact of just being alone, understanding your self-worth, understanding that some things are not worth getting into. So I'd say that's what it is.
I mean, if anything, the people that are hopping from one relation to the next, to the next, to the next may have something wrong. You know, if you're not capable of being alone, then there may be something wrong with it.
Okay, do you feel disadvantaged, lack of equal opportunity by being single?
Yeah, what I'm annoyed at is the leave benefits. You get family benefits and stuff like that. Like if you're in a relationship or in a marriage, essentially, let's focus on a marriage rather, in the workplace, you legit actually get like benefits from being married. Whereas if you're single, you kind of don't. It's like the same as like if you're a smoker and you get smoke breaks versus a person who doesn't smoke. You end up having to work those extra few minutes in comparison. It kind of sucks.
The next question is true or false? Stigmas of singlehood can be harmful. Debate.
So I think
think
stigmas.
Go ahead.
Oh.
No, you can go.
So I think stigmas can be harmful because it kind of brings up this whole thing from when you're little, you're expected to be with someone. You know, you see those single aunts, and everyone's like, you know, that was always looked down upon when you were younger because you wanted to be married, you wanted to have this done by then. So I think it kind of stops people from being alone and learning who they are within themselves, you know, because you don't want that. So you have this negative association with it. So I think that really does impact you. And as you get older, you kind of have to realize, you know, it is okay.
Yeah, as a person who's, you know, nearing 30, who's turning 30 this year, I can agree with that. Like there's still a part of me that even though I'm single and I don't feel pressure to want to have kids one day, I still feel pressured to still be in a relationship very soon. Otherwise, I feel like I'm going to turn into, you know, the single aunt that everyone seems to be talking about. Everyone in my family is in relationships or married, and I'm the only, you know, singleton left. And even though no one can pressure me into having kids, I still have days where I wonder, like, am I actually going to find someone? Am I actually going to be with someone for the rest of my life? Or am I actually going to be, you know, the 40-year-old aunt in 10 years time who's just hanging around with her 5 cats and 3 dogs, you know, kind of stigma. And we, you know, we laugh about it sometimes, but those thoughts do creep in my mind sometimes. They do make me feel stressed, and you know, sometimes they do paralyze me with fear and make me feel like I have to then suddenly go on the dating apps again and start dating because just in case, you know, I need to try and meet someone. And it kind of sucks because it makes you feel like you just have to almost then settle with the next, I don't want to say best thing, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best thing for you. It's just the next thing.
When we're young, we see like all these like Disney movies and fairy tales, and it's like happiness equals romance. There's no like single portrayal of happiness, you know. And I think that's kind of detrimental.
What can you take away from this conversation with everyone today?
That I'm not alone.
I was literally about to say the same thing. There's nothing more comforting than knowing that other people are going through the same things you're going through, because it's not something you talk about every day. So when you come across someone who's relating to your problems, it's kind of comforting knowing that you're not the only one in the world. So yeah.
We're all struggling a little bit. And although it may, to everyone else, it might seem like, oh, they're single and they have so much going on in their life and they're battling and it would be better if they could unload off on someone. I think in this time, I've never been happier being single because I know that I have a lot of work to do on myself. And I know that there are other people out there that I can talk to who know exactly what I'm going through, and they can be that support that I need. To like, in future, if I want to be with somebody, at least I know that I did the work and I had my friends and people around me that supported me in that time.
What I take away from this talk, I wouldn't say it's a new concept to me, but it's like everyone's struggle is real to them. And it doesn't matter like what your background is. If you're struggling with something, and everyone has in the dating world a lot of different struggles that I can't relate to. But I don't think that anyone's struggle that they're dealing with is any more better or worse than anyone else's.
I was going to add to that as well. I was going to bring it up and say that basically that being single actually has no gender, has no age, nothing. It's the same blanket that we all sleep under. And it doesn't matter if you are a cis white female or a bisexual black male or whatever. It really doesn't matter. We all share the same thoughts. We all feel the same feelings. And that, we should essentially, much like in every other way, we should still be treating each other equally in that sense and care for one another equally.